Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's so great to be here back in Dublin. I always love it, especially when with my troubled friend, Pastor Tunde. First, let me appreciate the conveners of this particular afternoon. My brother Wilson and brother Femi, and all the helpers who have helped them. They've done a fantastic job. Please, let's give them a round of applause. It's a great thing. It's not easy to put this kind of program together. And then all the previous speakers, quite a lot. One I've learned from them, my helpers, the colleagues who are here in the co-ministry. God bless you all. I want to start by trying to give you a bit of this very interesting analysis. A group of professionals, they came together, and then they wanted to prove that which profession did God actually created first. So the doctor said that shouldn't be a problem. After all, God created, God did an operation on Adam to bring out Eve. And so the oceanographer said, "You must be joking. Don't you know that before God created Eve, they have to make sure that the waters, the oceans, when they were separated, that they are the ones that are working on it?" So the business analyst said, "No, come on. Without their expertise, I will be able to measure amount of water, amount of plants, amount of things that needs to be there." Then the strategist thinker said, "Nah, I'm the one that was thinking for God. So God must have created my profession first." So the speechwriter said, "No way. If I didn't write a speech, how will I be able to say God said?" So there was one man in the room who was just laughing. So people asked him, "Sir, what's your profession?" He said, "I'm a politician." He said, "Definitely God didn't create you first." He said, "Who created all the problems that all of you are solving?" So on that note, let's move to our talk today, cornerstone to the next level, cornerstone to the next level. Now, when Wilson gave me this topic, I was thinking cornerstone. That's a bit very interesting, because in reality, there are two words, cornerstone, next level. So because you can talk a lot about cornerstone on its own, and then you can talk about next level on its own. But when you put two together, it becomes more deeper. How do you want to exploit? So when you look about cornerstones, really there are four main corners. If you look at this room, you have 1, 2, 3, 4. So they are the four main corners, pillars that holds this room. So if they're going to put another building on this particular place we are, one of the most important foundation they need to look upon is the cornerstone strong, is the foundation strong? Because if the foundation is not strong, there's no way they're going to put another thing on it. So, and that's how our life is. If the foundation, which we'll call the cornerstone of our life, is not strong, then really, whatever we build on it, you know, all the previous speakers, they've spoken very well. No matter how you intend to plan and change and make an effect, if the cornerstone, the foundation that hem your life down properly is not strong, you're going to find it very difficult to move on to the next level. You see, in preparing for this talk, I did a lot of reading, trying to find out from people what are the cornerstones that really made them stand and that put them to the next level. And I spoke to a lot of leaders within the sphere of where I work. I will sit down with them, jokingly, I will tell them, tell me 4 cornerstones that you think they are important, that will take you, that have taken you to the next level, and that you think will take you to the next level. And my wonderful wife helped me to watch Oprah Winfrey when Oprah Winfrey will interview a couple of people, Simon Cowell, Usher, all those sort of people. And part of the question Oprah Winfrey will be asking them are practical questions in terms of what did they think have made their life to be what they have, what failures, what success have they learned. And so when I then summarizes all of that, I came out with a couple of things. So one of them will say the reason why that have affected my cornerstone for the future will be I have to have a clarity of vision for the future. That is a major cornerstone for my life. Another one will say it is knowing God and knowing his purposes for my life is a cornerstone. So another one will say it's knowing the right people and developing the right relationships with them. That is a major cornerstone. And one person said to me, you know what, Yemi? It's knowing who you are and knowing your character pitfalls, that is important in moving forward. Then someone said it's about knowing your giftings and knowing your skills. Because if you know your giftings and you know your skills, you know your future is certain. And a very friend of mine said, you know what? It is about leaving legacy and developing others. Because that is what you begin to think when you start getting to the age of 35 and plus, which most of us are, 35, 40. When you start 35, 40, 45, you're not thinking, what I say, you use the first 50 years of your life for security, to secure something. They use the last 50 years of your life for fulfillment. You know? And one said to me that, you know what? A cornerstone for your life is to have a vision of a birthday into eternal life. A vision of a birthday, because I was saying to my colleague, one of my friends today, I said, I was in the swimming pool this morning, I was just reflecting. They said you die once, you were born twice, and you die once. It just occurred to me that actually we are all going to be born 3 times. When you are physically born by your father and your mother, and then when you were born into the kingdom, when you become a Christian. And then the day you die, you are actually born into eternity. Either you're born to eternity or you're born into hell. But it's eternity, you're born to never to come back again. Hopefully. So I have now chosen 4 cornerstones that I want to talk about with you today. The first one is understanding God's purposes for your life. I think it's a major cornerstone that you need to know about your life. You must understand God's purpose for your life. You see, for us, as we are growing up, for many of us, our life begins from a self-centered position. It's always from self. What do I want to be? What do I want to be? What will you be? Our parents will tell us, you need to be a doctor, you need to be a lawyer. Yeah, but is that God's plans and purpose for our lives? So it's always start from a self-centered position. Or what do we want to do with our lives? I want to get married at the age of 20 and have 4 children, and all of that. So we begin to think it for ourselves. We set goals and our target for ourselves. At the age of 30, I want to be a millionaire. At the age of 40, I want to have 10 planes. It's all self-centered. What do I want for myself? And oftentimes we set dreams for our future. My God, when I'm 50, I've retired. I'm just flying all over the world. So we set all this plan for ourselves. And we're driven by all this, what the world calls goals and ambitions and successes. If only we could just pause for a minute and reflect that we're actually created by God for his own purpose. The question is, do you know what you are created for? Because that is the challenge most people have. It's not everybody that's going to get rich. God didn't make everybody to get rich. And God didn't make everybody, really. When you see some sisters, they said, I've got to marry by all costs. God might not even made you to get married. You say, I've got to have children by all costs. Maybe God didn't want you to have children. But if you don't know your purpose, you'll be running somebody else's race. And then you run that race, you become frustrated. And you become an unfulfilled person because you don't know why you are created. But if you know your purpose, it must excite a vision in you. Your purpose must determine your vision, not vision first. Because they have a vision to build a house. I have a vision to become a millionaire. The question is that God's purpose for you? Your purpose must always determine your vision, and your purpose must be rooted in God. It must come first from God. And then the question is, when you know God's purpose for yourself, then you ask yourself, how do vision comes? How do you get a vision? Because we always talk about it, vision, 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 vision. How do you get a vision? Vision comes in 2 ways, naturally and supernaturally. How do visions come supernaturally? For many people, it might be when you are reading your Bible. It might be a prophecy. It might be a word of knowledge. I call it divinity, vision in divinity. It could be through dreams. It could be through a man of God and said, I seize this into your life. And that will set forth to be a vision that will come forth. No, it's not going to happen to everybody. I don't think anybody said to me, I said, Yemi, my son, this is what you're going to be. No. Vision comes naturally. How do vision comes naturally? It comes through frustration.
Yes, that's a good one.
But it's the truth. When you come to the end of your life, and you know you can't go further by that wall, And you know you have to do something. Suddenly a light will span in your head. Wow, why am I in this place? I think I need to change my life. I need to change something. Vision is then birth. Because to some people, your vision will not be birth until you come to the end of yourself. When you are broke and broke and broke and broke and red and red and red, one day you got to wake up and say, you know what? I got to change something about my life. So vision comes through frustration. It comes through disappointments. And it comes through provocation. And vision also comes through exposure and experiences like this. You know, many of you that are here today, you're going to live here and think, you know what, I think I need to, having known what God created me for, and having had all of these things, I think I need to recraft a vision for myself. Vision comes through education. You know, most of us as leaders, when we travel abroad, most of you as leaders, when you travel abroad, and you go to some church, and you go like, wow, a vision is birthed. Most of you hear some people or you see the way they look, you say, wow, vision is birth. Vision is not birth in obscurity when you're on your own. That's why you got to tell people, expose yourself, get some experience. The more experience, the more exposure, the more you become better in what the purpose God has asked and given you to be. You see, vision is a sight. What you can't see, you can't become. Vision is a sight. There are 5 types of sights. There are some people that I call them no sight, no vision. You ask them, what are you doing? Hey, God is good, it is well. What are you doing now? What is the plan for whatever? It is well, my brother. It shall be done. Have you met people like that? No vision. What's going to happen to your life in the next 2, 3, 5 years? I don't know. No plan, they just live in life. But that's not the way God wants them to be. And majority of people are like that. They don't have plans for their life. They don't even know God's purpose for their lives. So how will you have a vision? They've not asked the Creator, what's your purpose for me? Then you have some people they have what I call an hindsight. You have no sight, then you have the hindsight. The hindsight people are like, you say, what's happening? 5 years ago, I was a real man of God. But what's happening now? He always refers to the past. He hasn't come to the understanding that the past vision come. You need to see me when my church was 1,000 people. But what's happening now? It's because you don't understand what. When I had my Mercedes and my 5-bedroom house. But that was past. So, anytime you talk to such people, they never tell you about the present. They always bring the past to become the present vision. They allow their past to dictate their present and influence their future. And you have some people who I call they have an insight. You have no sight, hindsight, and you have insight. Insight people are what they understand what's happening today. But the challenge of the people that have insight is that their understanding of today do not go beyond today. What's happening? No, it's only about today. I have this money in bank, like my sister said. I have this thing. So what's the plan after that? They don't have no plan, but they only know that today, this is what I'm going to eat. I have this food, I eat it. Whatever happens tomorrow, God will provide another one. They said they live by faith. No, they live by stupidity. So you have those who have an insight, and you can tell. When you talk to them, they are not futuristic. They are not strategic in thinking. They are not giving you something that will buzz you and excite you. Then you have the people who I call they have a foresight. Foresight people will tell you what's going to happen in about 2, 3, 4, 5 years. They already kind of, they know the mind, they know the plan was going on. So in 4 or 5 years, this is what I'm planning. I've already put things into places. Like my sister, I've put some investment into place. I've got this thing, I'm thinking about that. And they do very well. The majority of leaders are in the foresight. But you know what I like best? Is the one that has the far sight. You know the far sight people are not thinking of when they are alive. They are thinking about life after they've gone. People like William Wilberforce. He wasn't thinking about himself when he was fighting for the abolition of slave trade. He was thinking about what will happen to these millions of people who have been taken to slave trade. what will happen to their generation that's coming? So people like that are not thinking about planning 10, 15 years. They are thinking, what legacy? What far side? They were thinking beyond themselves, beyond their children, beyond their grandchildren. And that's the kind of pillars you begin to think that you have. My friends, there's a difference between being successful and being fulfilled. The world tells us to be successful. A successful pastor, a successful banker, a successful, you see them successful. But you know there are so many successful people that are not fulfilled. Why? Because they have all the money in the world, they still go and jump in front of the train. Because they are not fulfilled. But you never see a fulfilled man that is not successful. Because fulfillment comes from God. But success is a derivative of what the world asks us to be. Whereas if you find fulfillment, you'll be successful. You know you can be fulfilled without having money in the bank. Yes. You can even be fulfilled without having a roof upon your head. When Pope Paul John II died, and they said the only asset he has was his cassock, is a pair of shoes, and a briefcase. That was all. He didn't have anything. But will you say that man was successful? Absolutely. Was he fulfilled to the core? Because his success and fulfillment was not dependent on what he has. But he understands that he has to live a life that goes beyond foresight into farsight. Number two, having know your purpose and the vision is to know yourself. Having know God and know his purpose for yourself, you must do, like my brother did this morning, you must do a self-audit of yourself. And you have to be honest about yourself. See, there are so many personality test types that can tell you the kind of person which you have. A friend of mine did a personality test on me and said, you are a sanguine. I said, what's that? He said that you are a sanguine. That's what he said. And by the time he read the characteristics of a sanguine for me, I said, whoever did that thing must be a witch. Because they are almost 90% correct about my behavior and my character and my exposure. Because it tells you who a sanguine is. A sanguine is a leader, is carefree, is lively, is easygoing, responsive, talkative, I don't know about that, outgoing and sociable, right? And then there's another set of people who they say they are phlegmatic, yeah? And then you have the choleric, and you have the melancholic. So you know all of that, right? The question is, you got to know which one you belong. Do you know? So once you know the one you belong, no, the reason why the psychologists put all that work together is to know where you belong. So when you know where you belong, you have to be smart and understand what irritates others about you and what inspires others about you. Then you must learn how to manage personalities then and how to be real to your character faults. Because the psychologists didn't just put it there in terms of just worry. Because if you know yourself, it will help you when you are engaging with people. It will really help you how you are engaging with life so you can get on well and manage people very well. And knowing yourself is to know area where you fall in your personal or your business ethics. What are those personal ethics that we often fail to understand? Timekeeping is one of them. You know, people go late, they arrive late, they do things, they just say, oh, it's African time. Like somebody said this morning, what's African time? There's nothing like that. But because it has become inherent in us, it has formed a basis of our ethics. And when it's formed the basis for your ethics, how are you going to move forward in life when people can't trust you with time? Self-pride, arrogance, the way you appear, your elocution, your exposure, your experience, all those things you got to know if you really want to build a pillar for the next level. I don't know whether I said it to you before. In my days when I was at CMS, I spoke like this many years ago at a gathering, you know, with all of these white folks. And when I finished, a man came to me, about 70, 80 years old man or something like that. He came to me, tapped me. He said, young man, you've done very well. I said, thank you, sir. You know, your head is swelling. He said, but can I just tell you, You spoke very well with passion, but you won't go far. That's oxymoron. I spoke very well, but I won't go far. Still come here to. He said, can I just say to you that get some education? Get some education. He said, because so far your passion will take you, but your exposure and your experience is what is going to take you further. He said, if you had expertise, experience, exposure to what you have with passion, he said there won't be no limit. Now that began to ring in my head. What's this man saying? But it challenged me and it provoked me to go back to school to go and do my master's in theology. And I'm now benefiting it now. I don't even know where the man is. I will have blessed him. So part of those things is to know yourself, know where you are, I was telling the folks yesterday that when my wife and I was watching about Simon Cowell, and Oprah Winfrey interviewed him and said, what is it about you when you want to move to the next level that you have learned that you won't do again? He said, He said when he started, he was successful. And then because he was successful, it seems like he was living in a bubble. Because he thought to himself, I'm untouchable. I know it all. I follow the masters, Until he said he made a mistake in engaging in one artist that he lost £2 million like that. And he said he learned his lesson. That actually, they have been telling him that you are going the wrong way. But because he said because he was self-conceited with himself, he could not listen to the voices coming. So Oprah then asked, what are you going to do differently now? He said, since then, he said, I have people around me that their job is to provoke me. Their job is to poke their eyes, their leg. He said, I'm paying them to do the job, but they think that by doing that, they are provoking me. No, I'm getting smarter so that I don't make the same mistake. Because he said, if I don't get that, he said, I can get so swollen-headed that I won't even know when I'm making a mistake. So it's about knowing yourself as you are going forward in life. Integrity in terms of what you said. And we were saying that I was in Ghana and I was doing a businessman conference. And then people were there who were saying that breakthrough, praying for all of that. And I was saying to them, I said, you know what? You don't really need fasting and prayer to make a breakthrough in life, whatever you are doing. Because you have been here fasting and praying, but I can't even see different in your character. You don't even know who you are. They said, what do you mean? I said, even if you are a tailor or a carpenter by the roadside, I said, once you lack the basic business ethics, you are not going anywhere. I said, for example, they said, help me to make a chair. You say, Oga, come back next week Tuesday, the chair will be ready. So you go next week Tuesday. He said, I just remember. I forgot. You have lost something. No matter fasting and prayer, that integrity have lost your business. And then when you make the chair, the thing has one leg there, you don't even know whether it's a chair or a stool. So you don't deliver par excellence. And then you lack customer service. You make them think that they owe you, not that they are the one that you are paying you something. And now, if you transfer that into our own personal life, in the way we do things, don't you think it's similar? And once you lack ethics, you lack integrity, people don't want to engage with you, and it's going to stop you in moving to the next level in life. The third thing you have to know your giftings. You know your purpose in God, you know yourself, and then you know your gifting as the third player. How do you know what and where you are gifted? It's simple. You see, whatever you do that make people around you pay attention to you and marvel is an inherent gifting of God in your life. Whatever you do. See, people, they make people laugh. And they become millionaires. Yeah? They just make people laugh and they become millionaires. Why? They've been able to understand the inherent gifting that God has given to them. What do you do that people find challenging to do, but is effortless to you? It's a thing of grace. See, some people, they will stand, and when they speak or they preach, you will go like, wow. But you try it. You realize you can't. Why? Because they are graced to do that. You are not. But you need to find what you are graced to do. You need to know your gifting, because it's your gifting that will make way for you. God did not create anyone that he did not endow with a unique gift for his own purpose. It's either you use that gift when it blossoms to serve yourself, or you use it to serve the purposes of God. Take, for example, Michael Jackson. Is the brother gifted or not? He's gifted. Mega gifted. I think he will have been one of the greatest worship leaders that anybody could have known. But see the way the devil plays. Gifted to sing. David Beckham, is the brother gifted to play football or not? Gifted to play. Messi, all of them. They might not be educated. They have more money in the pocket than combine all my family together. They have a unique gifting. Right? Look at the kind of Wole Soyinka. The guy can write or whatever. Gifted. You know, different kind of giftings. Here and there and all over. Obama has an oratory power to stand there and not looking at any paper and just speak. But at the end of the day, whatever Obama is talking about, he didn't write it. That's right. He has this 26-year-old boy that writes all his speeches. The boy follows him everywhere. So he kind of watch him, read into his mind, read into his whatever. So if Obama is going to make 10 speeches in one day, that boy knows exactly what Obama is going to say. And that boy is being paid. He's not the one speaking, but he's the one writing. So one gift is making way, another gift operates. So when Obama speaks, you say, my God, that guy is super. No, he doesn't even know what's going to say next. Somebody is doing the job. Why? The guy has found himself in the place where he has been gifted. The point is, do you know your gifting? Do you know what you are gifting? I'm gifted to make friends easily and network with people in high places. I just think it's the gift that God gives to me. And it took me time to realize that actually that's what God wants me to do to fulfill his own purpose. And once I discovered that that's my gift, I use it to serve, I use it to bless, but in the same way, God will then use it to bless you. Because it's from your gifting that God will bless you. Don't assume the role that God hasn't given you. Don't take a role that you are not gifted to. I always say when I speak to managers and leaders in organization, I will tell them, if God asks you to be a leader, don't manage. Don't be a manager. Because you're going to have a frustration. Because leaders just want to do what? It's in their DNA, they want to lead. So if someone is a manager who is the utmost leader, now leading those who are leaders, that organization is good. That's why in Africa, that's why we have the problem. Nearly all leaders in Africa, they are managers. That's why we cannot find, but when you find leaders like the governor of Lagos State and some couple of the governors, you can see distinctive difference. Will you say our president, if you are from Nigeria, is a leader? No, he's a manager. That's why we're going nowhere. Right? Now, but that doesn't mean that doesn't mean that being a manager is not a gift. You know, a leader cannot operate without a manager. I am useless, practically useless without people managing me. I just don't have a clue. But the people who are managing me, they are good in what they are doing. And they love it. I'm thinking, this is a boring, silly job you are doing. But they love it because that's what they are gifted into. So God is gifted everybody, but the point is, know what you are gifted in. If I'm gifted as a manager, I want to serve, I'm looking for a leader. Because I know the leader can't complete his job without me. So as a leader, I'm always looking for somebody who knows how to manage. But you got to know where you are gifted on. And once you find where you are gifted, look for someone who is better in that place. Let them mentor you. Become an expert. Like Brother Wilson said, use your gift to help other people. In trying to help other people, you will see how God will expand the giftings that he has given unto you. And lastly, number 4 pillar is make friends, collect friends, nurture friends, and develop relationships. Make friends. See, there are different things. Though. To make friends is one thing. To collect them is another thing. To nurture them into a relationship where you can leverage is another thing. You see, what most of us don't know is that we don't know how to turn friendship into business. Because once you know the giftings that everybody has, it changes the dynamics of your relationship. See, when I look at my life, every good thing that has happened to me happens through friends and relationship. You look at your life as well. Nearly everything must happen through friends or what? Or relationship. The quality of your life is the quality of your relationship. From getting my first job, meeting my wife, starting my own consultancy, becoming an Anglican priest, coming to redeem, becoming directors of whatever, all the things that I direct, is all through friends and relationships. All these enriching God-given experiences that you have, if you really want to develop them, to move to the next level, it must be through relationship. The access I have to stand before you this morning through relationships. I have a relationship with Pastor Tunde. He invited me last year to come here. Brother Wilson took me up in the car. We developed a relationship. From that relationship, I'm standing in here. That's how it works. It's always by relationship. Right? So each friend represents a world in us. Every friend you represent, every friend you have represents a world. And a world possibly not born until they arrive. And it is only when you meet that this new world is born. Always think in your head, how are you going to aim for a relationship that will grow into a strategic business alliances, strategic moving next step change alliances. It is a position, somebody was talking about leveraging. It's a position where you leverage on the gifting or on the benefits of another person. For example, if you look at, let me use Pastor Tunde and I as an example. There are some inherent benefits and giftings which he has, or influence that he has. There are inherent benefits and giftings which I have as well. So, just being friends alone, hey, hello, my man, what's happening? That's just on the face level. You with me? But when you go deeper, I'm thinking to, what can I do to make you better in our relationship? He's thinking, what can I do to make you better? So it is in that symbiotic, leveraging relationship that you build a substantial step change for the next level. But it's all about knowing, how do you make friends? How do you collect them? How do you then nurture those friends so that they grow to that level? You know, friendship is very interesting. Because there is a rule which our approach, well, there's a rule in friendship that might work, in relationship that might work, is that, I call it the rule of engagement. Never approach friendship relationship empty-handed. Never approach empty-handed. Always present yourself from a position of specific competency or support. Now, who wants to have a loser as a friend?
Nobody.
They said it's the person that is happening for, that is my friend. It's not happening for you, you are not my friend. Now, it's not because it's not happening for you. It's because you don't know what God has given to you that's actually happening in you that you can benefit the other person. So, if you approach a friendship, hey, my friend, I'm thinking of you, my friend, from where to where? There's nothing to, you are, what do you call them? You are now offloader. You want to offload from me. Nothing to whatever. Now, that friend is going to be limited. A leech, yeah. A parasite, yeah. It's going to be leech, you know. So, never approach empty-handed into a relationship. Come from a position of a specific, there must be something in you that is beneficial to the other person. What is that thing? If you cannot discover it, you will always be starting from a position of no negotiation. Some of the biggest challenges in relationship is from people who enter relationships in order to get something. They try to find someone who will make them feel good. Whereas the only way a relationship will last, if you see relationship as a place you go and give, not a place you go and take. Every relationship is like it's a bank. You deposit. That's how I see my own relationship. I always want to deposit more into the relationship. Because the day you're going to go and collect, you have deposit. It's same thing like husband and wife. You know, you're a married man, you always try to do things for your wife, because you're going to collect. But if your wife does something for you, then you're in trouble because you know you're going to pay back. Big time. Since yesterday, my wife, we went to the shopping mall, and my wife bought me a very expensive jacket yesterday. I didn't sleep overnight, but I'm thinking, honestly, up to this moment, that my heart is still palpitating about the thing. I said, what is that thing going to cost me, for heaven's sake? What is it going to cost me, He said, oh no, I just love it, just have it. I said, that is even more dangerous. So think of what you have and the value you are bringing into the relationship. What are those values? Values such as the networks you can open for your friendship, the social influences, the financial capacity and help and support. What about the spiritual capacity? That's why you can't say you don't have anything. Your friend can have money, might not know how to pray. But just say, let's help. You must be able to bring something, to add something to the relationship. What about the maturity, advice and guidance? So there's something that in you, so that's why you don't go empty-handed. Think of how to give your friend access to your values and how to access your friend and relationship to enhance your own personal journey in life. Finally, don't base your relationship on obligation because you will always lose dignity. If you base it on what obligation, the reason why I'm doing this for you is because of that, then you will always lose dignity. So, in summary, 4 things. Know God to discover your purpose and your vision. Second, know yourself. Third, know your giftings. And fourthly, collect friends, make friends, because it's a relationship that will take you to the next step change. God bless you.